And here too is up, but it's missing. So the cat's knocked the everything off the little stand here earlier this week. So wasn't sure where we were gonna get it, and then that's good. All right. Wait just a little second. Oh, actually, I'm on time. It was early, then I got rushed and I was late. What's new? So a furniture truck just showed up outside, so hopefully it won't be too loud. My dogs might bark. I don't know. It's not for me. So I don't really care. But if it's noisy, that's what's going on, and hopefully it won't last long. Hopefully. So 2 weeks ago, I think it was, we had snow on the ground, and now it's like 80 degrees outside. So if everything's a little topsy, everything is topsy turvy. So today we're going to do some twisting, getting into our hamstrings, and of course you can. I was going to say ad lib, but that's not really impromptu. Whatever. Improv, improv, not imprompt. Throw things in if you want them, right? So say we're in a lunge and we're doing a twist, but you want to do a bind, or you want to twist the opposite direction, right? These things are always your choice, right? I'm just kind of showing you down the path. If you want to wander over here for a minute or over there for a moment, it's totally fine. You're not disturbing anyone because you're not even in a class, right? So remember to just listen to your body and figure out what it needs from day to day, because it's always different. Not always, but often different, right? So just enjoy yourself and be good to yourself, and let's get in some yoga. All right, you guys ready? Everybody good? All right, let's do it. So standing today, feet underneath the hip bones. Make sure your toes point forward and think about the four corners of your feet on the floor, and then press down into them. Make your legs work even though you're standing here. A little tuck of the tailbone, nothing crazy. Lifting the pelvic floor, the lower belly's in and up, and we're tall through the sides. Relax down through your shoulders. Go ahead and close your eyes. Check in that your ears are over your shoulders so your head is properly aligned. And then just take a moment. Figure out any areas that you might need to take a little extra care of. Or if there's an area that really needs a good stretch. And then check out your breath. And kind of the same thing. How are you breathing? Is it all in the belly? Is it more in the chest? Just trying to be in the current moment. Breathing all through the nose. Let's begin to expand into that next yoga breath. Allowing the inhales to go a little bigger. And the exhales to go a little more complete. Until you find that breath is just beyond comfortable. Make it a little bit of work. And then staying connected to everything you have set here. Your foundation, that strength in your legs, that engagement of the belly always, right? Nice long spine and big full breaths. With the next inhale, take the arms. We're going to stretch them up to the ceiling. And then exhale, bring them back down. Connecting the movement to the breath. Let's do that again. One more of those. Inhale yourself back to the top. And then exhale just the right hand toward the floor. Imagine stretching in opposite directions here. Step the left foot over the right. Try to get that foot flat. And then give yourself a little tip over to that right side. So changing it up. Stay as connected as you can to your feet. We're going to take another big breath. With the inhale, come back to the center, release your feet, and then switch to the other side. So that right foot is stepping over the left foot and the left hand's reaching toward the floor. Keep it nice and long, and then we'll tip to the left. A little bit of a balance challenge. Maybe looking down at the floor is easier. We'll take another big breath here. And then inhale back to the top, release your feet, and then release your arms. So it seems really simple, doesn't it? Complicated. From here, go ahead and place your hands on your thighs. We're going to come over into a half fold kind of place. So just a little bit of a stretch. Keeping the shoulders back, the belly in, hips over ankles. And then if you have a deeper fold, go ahead and gently move into it. So take your time. And then just allow yourself to be here in your fold. So maybe walk in place a little bit. Maybe you want to come in and out. Maybe you want to flex your spine a little bit here. Just warming up the legs to get into the trouble we're going to get into. Let's take another nice big breath with this in this fold. And then we're just going to make our way down onto hands and knees. We'll get into those hamstrings a little more later. So the hands, just like the feet, four corners pressing down into the floor. You can pull your finger pads or press your finger pads into the floor if you want a little bit more work for your hands and arms. I don't know why that was so difficult. On an inhale here, we're going to drop the belly toward the floor. And then with the exhale, round your spine toward the ceiling. And just connect to the breath like that, in and out. And see how much of the spine you can involve. Right? There's the really bendy parts, and then there's the parts that are a little, less so. So you can even that out a little bit. Take one more flow like that. Finding the middle. Making sure the belly is engaged here, go ahead and extend your right leg straight back. Press through the heel, just like you were standing on that leg. And then stretch the left arm forward. Fingers, head, shoulders, hips, and ankle in this nice long line. If you're having trouble with your balance, maybe focus down at the floor. If it's super easy, close your eyes. Releasing that down. Let's switch to the other side. So extending the left leg back, press through the heel, right arm forward. We'll release that back to the mat. And then we're going to add on. So I'm going to turn forward here. Go ahead and extend your right leg back again and your left arm forward, just like before. But this time, see about taking your arm over to the left and bring that leg around to the right. And maybe your heel is in line with the hip and maybe you're barely up off the floor. Don't worry about it. Hold your balance. Stay connected to those nice big breaths. And then take the hands to the mat. Go ahead and bring your toes to the side, to the floor on the side here. And then come up on the knee. If you need to cushion, or if this is just not acceptable, forget it, right? Just come back into your hands and knees. Otherwise, take that left arm up and over. Nice big breaths here. Inhaling your way back to center. Releasing your hands back to the mat. Lift the leg, take it back, and down. To the second side, same idea. It's extending the right arm and the left leg. And then taking it out to the sides. Holding here. Breathing. Release the hand, take the toes to the floor, and come on up on the knee. Same thing, if you need to cushion or skip it, do. Reaching your right arm up, take it over. And with the next inhale, we'll make our way back to the top. Release the hands. Lifting the leg, take it back and down. We've got one more. I should stay facing this way. Perfect. One more here. Play with the balance again. So go ahead and extend the right leg and then the knee. This time, we're going to lean enough to the left that you can pick your right hand up. And maybe only for a second, right? A million times up and down. If you can find your balance, see if you can reach back with your right hand and find your right foot. And then the trick is to square the hips again. Kick the foot into the hand, lifting those toes high. You got another big breath here. And then we're gently going to release that side. And switch, right? So you have the idea, take it slow. Maybe it's better or not on this side, right? Finding your balance, whatever that looks like. And then getting in that little quad stretch on top of it. Release it. Ideally before you fall. Back into that all fours, and then go ahead and move on down into a child's pose. Stretching the arms out nice and long, reach around the four corners of the hands like we have them. And then let's go ahead and lift into a down dog. Just allow yourself to move and stretch like we always do here. Wiggle around a little bit. Finding that center then, right? So we want to press through the heels. Don't worry if they touch. Try not to hyperextend the knee. Keeping the chest pressing back toward the thighs. Ideally, the head hangs between the arms. From here, lift the right leg. Not necessarily super high, right? Extend through your heels, keeping the hips level. And then go ahead and open up the right hip. Try not to let that right shoulder lift. Bending at the knee if you'd like. And then we're going to release that side. And switch. So lifting the left. Keeping the hips square for just a moment, getting that extra little stretch. And then allow the left hip to lift and maybe the knee to bend. Keep lifting the right armpit. Don't let it dip. Releasing that side. Let's go ahead and lift the right leg again. This time we're going to step that foot through to the hands and come to lunge. So work your toes all the way up there. Go ahead and drop the left knee. Adjust the toes, right? Bring them all the way up to the top here. Allow your hips to kind of roll around a little bit here. And then keeping the hips nice and square, let's take the right leg straight or straight-ish. Remember, you can prop up, support on the thigh, use blocks, whatever you got. Trying to get a little deeper into that hamstrings. Go ahead and bend back into the knee. Let the hips descend. Still keep them square. Extend out through the crown of your head here. We'll take the right hand to the hip and add in a little twist. Think rotating the belly button toward the thigh. Release the twist. And take the leg straight again. Try to find a little more of a stretch, wherever that might be. Maybe you're propped a little lower, right? Or maybe it's just drawing the shoulders down and back, or flexing the foot back. Right? Find something that's just a little bit extra, not painful. And then bend back at the knee again, dropping the hips. So staying nice and square and stable on your lower body here. We're going to bring the hands up to the thigh, lifting the torso more vertical. You can go beyond vertical, a little bit of back bend here if you like. Hang on or reach the arms up. You've always got some options with your arms. Let's take one more breath. And then release that side. Making your way back to down dog. And then switching to the second side. So step the left foot forward. Drop the right knee. Get your toes all the way up there. Wiggle around into the hips a little bit over here. And then again here, find that middle. So imagine pulling the legs toward each other. When you're ready, take the left leg straight or straight-ish. Finding the stretch on this side, it might look pretty different, right? Just take it as it comes, right? Bend back into the knee. Keep the hips nice and low. Let's add in that twist. Left hand to the hip and rotate around. Let's release that twist. Take the leg straight again and see if you can add a little something. Right, whatever that looks like. Bend back into the knee. Sink into those hips, and we're going to climb on up to the thigh. And then work your way wherever you need to be from here. Whether you add the arms, maybe you take the fingers interlace and behind your lower back. The little pieces. Let's gently release that. And we're going to make our way back to down dog again. Let's go ahead and drop down to the knees. Take a little child's pose. Back into our down dog. And we'll walk the feet forward into standing fold. So just like we started, feet under hip bones, toes pointing forward, grounding into the four corners here.
opening the feet out a step wider. So a little bit of a straddle here. Take the hands, walk them over to the right, and let the body weight lean. Let's walk the hands through the middle and over to the left. Remember, you don't have to touch the floor. You can prop with a block. You can be up on your shin or thigh if that's where you're at. We're going to come back to center. And then open those feet a step wider. Toes are still pointing forward. We're still engaged into the four corners of the feet. And this time, we're going to leave the lower body where it is. So as we walk our hands over to the right, if you feel the shift, put your lower body back. Right? So just the upper body moves. Come on back to the middle and over to the left. Same idea. And then back to center. Let's go ahead and walk the feet back in. Up underneath the hip bones. Bending the knees if you need. Take your index and middle fingers and wrap them around the big toes. Still try to keep the base of the big toe into the floor. And maybe take your legs straight or not. Elbows bend out to the side. You can add a little pull. Again, just looking for the edge, right? Where you feel the sensation, but it doesn't hurt, right? We're going to release the toes and then take the fingers to interlace behind the lower back here. Drawing the shoulder blades toward each other, stretch the knuckles away. Maybe up off your lower back or not. Just keep the shoulder blades pulling toward each other and away from your ears. One more nice big breath. Gently release what you got. Go ahead and bend into your knees here. Support on the thighs if you'd like. And then with an inhale, we're going to roll the spine all the way up to the top. Standing here. All right. So back to our standing pose. Check in with your feet. Make sure you feel engaged, pressing down into the floor. The lower belly's working. And the hands can be, again, in any number of places. You can interlace behind your back like we were. You can support the lower back if you feel like you need that. Maybe some cactus arms out to the sides or fully extended. You can start and change whenever you want, right? So, turning the tailbone toward the floor just a little bit. Again, we don't want to flatten the lower back, but we don't want to get pinched either. Pull the shoulder blades toward each other, the elbows toward each other, and imagine lifting your chest toward the ceiling. So it's just a gentle little back bend. We want to keep the head from flopping back. So think tucking your chin toward the throat. And again here, if you want to change where your arms are, feel free to give it a go. Just listen to your body. Take your time. One more nice big breath here in our back bend. With the inhale, gently make your way back up, supporting if you need the support for sure. Releasing the arms. And then bringing the hands to rest back on the thighs here. Slowly make your way back into that half full place. Lean as much as you need. Let's go ahead and bend into the knees, and we're going to sit back in the chair. So lean with your hands on your thighs if you need. Tailbone tucked again, not flat, but just so your lower back feels nice and long. Maybe the hands can come center, maybe the arms can extend. Again, you add the pieces. Watch that the four corners of the feet are still engaged into the mat. Toes point forward here. And then gently release it all, reach into the ceiling. And the arms back to the sides. All right. So from the top of the mat here, we're going to take a short step back with the big step back with the left foot and straddle. Right? So toes pointing out to the sides just a little bit. Right? When you bend your knees, are your knees in line with your toes? If not, make them. Right? You can see your big toe. When you got that, take your legs straight. And then extend your arms so that the body kind of looks like an X. With the breath here, on the exhale, bend your elbows and knees. And on the inhale, lift back up. So that's all that changes, right? Exhale, bend. Inhale, lift. Watch that your bum doesn't stick out on the way down. And if it's not hard enough, not challenging enough, I guess I should say, imagine that you're pulling down, 30-pound weights. Right? Pull them down, and then you have to push them back up. So the muscles can work more or not. Let's go once more like that. And this squat we're going to hold. Whee. Arms can stay bent. They can move out to the sides, extend out to the sides. If you'd like, hinge from the hip forward. And imagine bringing your chest in line with your knees. You can always support with your hands. We're going to inhale, lift back up. All the way to the ceiling, and then release it all and step back to the top of your mat. All right. So this time here, we're going to take a short step back with the left foot. All 10 toes pointing toward the top of the mat. Even on your feet, if you feel a little wobbly, open your feet out to the side of it. Go ahead and bend into the right knee, keeping the hips square. Hands can stay on the hips, or just like before, maybe reaching up, interfacing behind the back, adding a back bend, any of those things. From here, we're going to open into Warrior Two. So turning the left toes out, maybe making the feet a little wider. Arms parallel to the floor. Feeling even on your feet. Hips are level, shoulders are level. Keeping the legs strong, bend the right arm, rest the forearm on the thigh, bring the left arm over the ear. You can move deeper by dropping into your hips lower. You can lean on your leg or not so much really, letting the arm dangle. When your hips are lower, maybe you'll touch the floor, but we don't want to touch the floor if the hips aren't down there, right? If they're not there. Let's release it into lunge. And go ahead and drop the left knee. I feel like we haven't done this in a really long time. So just listen to your body. Use props if you feel like you need to use props. We're going to inch the right toes forward until they won't go anymore. And maybe the right leg is straight and maybe it's not. Maybe you are in a full split, maybe you are not. Again, use your arms, use a block. And just listen to where your body will allow you to go. Don't force it. We're going to work our way out of that, and it's not pretty. Right? So if you mess up your mat, so do I. Let's release that. We're going to step the left foot back into that first place, right? So that shorter stance, where all four corners of both feet can be on the floor. Weight is even in the legs. Taking the right leg straight. Folding over this leg here. So again, maybe you're propped up on the thigh, maybe you've got blocks, maybe you're on the floor. We're going to revolve this then, taking the right hand to the hip, and then rotating the belly around to the right. So kind of like in our lunge, right? Only a little different. Gently release what you got. Step the left foot forward. That bend into the knees again here, and we're going to roll on up through the spine again. All right. Same idea on the second side. May or may not look the same. Let's find out. Little step back with the right foot. Toes point forward, feet flat on the floor. Left knee is bent here, keeping the hips square. Extending the arms or whatever other position you'd like them to be in. Adding a little back bend or no. Let's open it up into our warrior two. Taking the feet a little wider, probably. All right, checking in that you see your big toe. Stacking the knee and ankle. Then left arm rested on the thigh. Bring the right arm over the ear. And then decide where you go from there. Maybe this is a big deal. You're leaning all your weight on your forearm here, right? Or maybe your hips will allow you to descend to touch the floor. Or not. Release it over into lunge. Dropping the right knee. And then inching the left toes forward. Just like we did on the other side. And maybe it goes the same, maybe it's different. Find the stretch. Remember to prop. And then see about working your way out of that. Once you're back in your lunge, go ahead and lift the right knee. Step that right foot roughly halfway in. Toes point forward, feet are flat on the floor. The left leg is straight, hips are square. And then maybe we add in the twist, left hand to the hip, rotating around. Release the twist. Step the right foot in. And we're going to roll on up to the top again. So we're going to get into a little bit of a complicated standing balance, right? So as long as you're on one foot and you're not falling on the floor, it's all good, right? What you add or not, see what happens if it doesn't, you're still working on your balance. Okay? So we're gonna start off in a warrior three idea, right? So let's go ahead and hinge from the hip here, coming into that half fold kind of place where we were. Taking the hands to the floor, legs straight if you can. You can always prop so that you do stay a little bit more horizontal. Shift all the weight over into the right foot and lift the left leg back like when you're on hands and knees. Press through the heel. Extend through the crown of the head. Again, if you don't have to have your hands on the floor, maybe don't. See about bringing your right hand to your hip and then rotating the belly around to the right. So adding into our twist, sort of like our lunge, sort of like that last standing pose, sort of. Release the twist, release your left foot, and then we're gonna switch sides. So again, ideally, the upper body is parallel to the floor. If you don't need to hang on, you don't need to hang on, right? Or you've got your fingertips on the floor. Lean the weight left, lift the right leg back. Press through the heel. Hips are square to the floor. And then if you're adding in the twist, the left hand to the hip. And we rotate into the twist. Release the twist. Release your foot. And as long as you're on your mat still, go ahead and step yourself back to down dog. Drop on down to the knees and give yourself a child's pose. Nice big breaths. What do we got going on? All right. From child's pose, we'll go ahead and kind of sit up on the heels. And we're going to take the legs around front. Extend the legs out nice and long. Make sure you feel upright on your pelvis here. Legs are straight with the feet flexed towards the ceiling. Reaching the arms up. Hinge from the hip and come forward again. Let the hands fall where they do. Keep the chest open and lifted, the shoulders back. And the hamstring should be pretty happy by now. So kind of just check out where you are. And then we're going to hinge back up again. So, like I said, the hamstrings are pretty open and pretty warm, yeah? So let's see where we can go with that. So, feet are flexed. Imagine pushing through your big toe knuckle and pulling the pinky toe side back. So that there's a lot of work going on just in your feet, right? And that pushing forward engages your legs. Imagine lifting your kneecaps towards your hips, grounding your sit bones down and back, and then extending out the crown of your head. Take your hands to your upper thighs, press in, and push back out with your legs. Now hinge forward. You can keep your hands on your thighs or slide them down to the outsides of your calves. Right? Keep everything else about how you have it. And then reactivate. Press out through your big toe. Pull the pinky toe side in. Pull the kneecaps toward the hip bones. Set those sit bones down and back. Lengthen out the crown of your head. Push in with your hands. Push back out with your legs. And see if you can hinge deeper. Go through that whole process one more time. Toes, knees, hips, spine, arms working. And then see if you can tip a little deeper. Take another nice big breath. Release it all, hinging back up. So from here, go ahead and open your feet back out into that straddle. And we're a little warmer, so see where you go. Make sure you still feel upright on your pelvis. And we're going to take that same action with the legs, right? So even though the feet are apart and so together, press out through your big toe and pull your pinky toe side back in. Pull the kneecaps toward the hips. Ground into the sit bones. And then see
If you can inch your heels away and keep that same action going. So just by moving where the feet were, maybe get a little more intense into the stretch. See what happens. Reach the arms up. We're going to rotate around toward the left leg. Fold over that left leg. Keep the pelvis level. It's easy to lean. Try not to. Rotate the belly around. Using the floor as your leverage here. And then on the inhale, make your way back to the middle, rotate around to the right, and do the same thing here. Keep those legs active. On an inhale, make your way back up and release. So this time, take your left hand and pin it up underneath your left thigh. Reach the right arm up, and we're going to reach over toward these toes here, but forget that. Elbow toward the floor at the inner thigh, so you get a little leverage. And now, imagine rotating your belly toward the ceiling. So if the arm is too much, you can stay on your hip. Or if you wanted to move more twisting action, you can take that right hand behind your back and open your belly toward the ceiling using the leverage against your lower back. You decide. You don't have to do any of that. We're going to take one more breath here. Release whatever you got. Gently make your way back up, and then switch hands. So the right hand under the left leg, left arm up and over. Elbow into the inner hip here, or inner thigh here, rotating around. With an inhale, gently make your way back up and bring the hands to the middle. Keep the legs doing what they're doing. Hinge forward into the center. Take your time and find the stretch. Couple more nice big breaths on this side, or in this pose. Only one side. And on the inhale, make your way back up. Bring your feet back together. Wiggle around if you like a little here. Bring the feet flat to the floor. Make sure you have mat behind you here. Right, hang on to the hamstrings, tuck the chin, and drop on down to the back. Hugging the knees toward the chest, allow yourself to just rock a little bit. And then the feet flat to the floor. So find a nice neutral spine. If you prefer, you can have your legs extended straight, but we're just going to bend them anyway, so you decide. But just to find the neutral position of your back. So your shoulders are down and back, your lower back isn't pressed into the floor, the weight of your head is on the back of your head, not your neck, right? So just sort of get even and nice and aligned here. And then keep that. If your feet aren't already flat, take them flat, bend the knees. Take your right leg straight up toward the ceiling. So it may not be able to be completely straight, or maybe it's not quite to the ceiling. If you have a strap, you can definitely loop it around the bottom of your foot, right? Or even maybe behind your thigh or calf. Right? And we're just gently going to pull the right leg in toward the chest. keeping your backside doing what it's doing. And you're gonna find a place where maybe your hips wanna roll up or your shoulders can't drop back. And that's where your edge is, right? We talked about that edge before. See if you activate your right leg like we did. So press through the big toe, pull the pinky side back, knee toward the hip grounding into the floor, spine long. Maybe that leg comes back in a little more. Maybe. So then just bring it to a neutral place again here. Extend your left arm out to the left. It's to ground that side of your body. So the back side stays doing exactly what it's doing here. Support the outside of your leg, your right leg with your right hand. And then keeping in line with your hip as much as you can, start to open it out to the right. So if you find that the left hip lifts or your right foot is down by the bottom of your mat, right? You stop. So staying as aligned as you can with this leg as open as it can be. The left knee is going to want to kind of move around to help try to keep it pointing toward the ceiling. Another nice big breath. Bring the leg back to center. From here, take that leg and drop it all the way over towards your left hand. And maybe it doesn't quite touch your hand. You can support it with like a bolster or maybe this left arm, right? Or you can let it bend a little bit. Reaching the right arm back out to the right makes it more intense. So just kind of play with it. We'll take a few more breaths. You can bend at this right knee if you need to, of course. Bring it back up to the center and release the right foot to the floor. Okay, so if you got a little crooked, straighten back out again here. Finding a neutral spine, shoulders relaxed back. It feels so good, right? So the feet are flat to the floor. We extend the left leg out toward the ceiling. And then with either your strap or maybe your fingers behind your left thigh here, we pull the left leg in. And again, we're looking for that place that you've got a really lovely stretch going on and you have your backside neutral on the floor. Does it change it if you activate the leg? Pushing out with the big toe, pinky tie back, knee toward the hip, kneecap toward the hip. Maybe yes, maybe no. Bringing that leg back to that neutral place again here. Extend the right arm out to the right, again, just to glue that side of your body to the floor. Support the left leg with the left hand and let it start to fall left. Take your time with it. We don't want to race past the place where the right hip is already off the floor. Keeping the backside neutral, support the leg. And then we're going to bring that leg back up to the center. Take it all the way over toward your right hand. And again, whether it's exactly in your hand or not quite, or the knee's a little bent, whatever. And extend the left arm out. And just enjoy the twist. You can always work to make things harder or a little easier. Right? And when you're in the pose, you kind of have to assess that. What's my body need right now?
Just a few more breaths over here. Bending at the knee if you need it, coming back to the middle. And then excuse me, releasing down. Knees into the chest, we rock a little bit again. Squeezing the knees in good and tight, pull the forehead toward the knees. And then reverse that out into a full body stretch. Get really long. Releasing the stretch. Bringing the arms down by your sides. Finding Shavasana here. So maybe being flat is not for you. You can have your knees bent, soles of your feet together. Take a seated meditation, maybe supported by the wall or a block. Finding wherever the body is going to be comfortable enough that you can keep your mind still. Not thinking about, oh, my hip doesn't like this, or my knee doesn't want to be blah, blah, blah. Right? Keeping the mind quiet and just allowing yourself to be here. No more to do.
Slowly draw in a deep, cleansing breath. And then let it go. Just trying small movements to the body first. When you're ready, gently make your way up to a seated position. Sitting well, bring the palms to touch. Namaste. Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Remember, if you have questions or comments or poses that you haven't seen in a while that you'd like to practice again, certain things that you're working on, feel free to reach out and share, okay? And I think we're good for next week. The universe has other plans maybe sometimes, so we'll see. All right, y'all have a good weekend, and we will see you next time.